All right, let's get it. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Leave It to the Judges MMA show. I'm here with the boys Xavier and Nick. How we feeling, boys? Pretty interesting weekend.
Pretty sad, I'm not gonna lie. Um, Happy about the Hamzat victory. I mean, Rob Whittaker's jaw RIP, but we'll get to that later. But sad, just um less about Ilya winning, more just about how it happened. It just sucks to see your heroes knocked out. And apparently this man Ilya on a fucking legend killing tour, so it's a little somber, but it's all right.
Mixed emotions. I liked the card itself. Everything was fine. It was actually a really good card, I'd say overall. Um, but then I was sad about Sunday and the Bears.
Yeah, we are Bears fans,
Oh
unfortunately.
no.
Not unfortunately, but it was an
Disaster.
unfortunate Sunday.
Disastrous. But
Disastrous Sunday.
hey, we'll get into this, man. I'm happy to be
Hell
here.
yeah.
Let
Let's
me
get
tell
into
you.
some MMA, guys. Like Nick said, it was a great card. Plenty of great nights and moments, little somber moments, but that's okay. Let's just start at the top, guys. We have to start. One of the biggest things of the year to happen, Max, of all time, maybe in UFC history, Max Holloway finally gets knocked out. Not knocked down. The man got knocked out by Ilia Topuria, the new featherweight king, El Matador. Now, before we get into that fight, guys, let's just talk about a little bit about Ilia Topuria, where this guy's going, where he is. True or false, guys? Ilia Topuria has just had the two most impressive back-to-back victories in UFC history, knocking out the two greatest featherweights in his division, knocking them out bad. Are these the two greatest back-to-back wins we've ever seen?
I'm gonna go ahead and say no. Um, on paper, probably. But I will just have that asterisk for the Vault fight. Um, this this I mean does go a long way in removing that asterisk a little bit. Um, because Max Holloway, like a top chin in the sport, has been for years. But at the same time, like I'll give him like 1.5 legends just because I just know that that wasn't the same Volk. And for that reason, I'm gonna say no. But damn impressive streak here he's on for sure.
What do you think, Clark?
Wait, sorry, what's the question again? I was looking
So,
something.
was Ilia Topuria's last two victories the most impressive back-to-back dubs
Yeah.
we've ever seen?
I mean, on the spot, I'll say no. Because I feel like there's champions who've had crazy fights back to back in the past and have looked more impressive in those fights. I mean, like I said, on paper, probably just because of the names themselves. Like, these are two of the top, like, 20 fighters ever, UFC fighters ever. Gotta be. And that's damn impressive to just finish both of them in the way he did. Uh, but yeah, both kind of end of his career, I feel right now. He's on the down slow. Max, that was impressive, man. No one's ever finished him, so gotta give respect. This man apparently can crack, but I bet Connor could crack these two, let me tell you.
Okay,
He's still
well,
giving Taporia a run for his money. That's all I gotta say.
okay, well, let's get the future opponents, possible opponents later. Let's talk about the X's and O's first. What went down Saturday in the cage? Pretty competitive fight until it wasn't really. Max was landing his own. I really liked Max's kicks, his oblique kicks. I thought they were working really well for him. We saw great wrestling and grappling from Ilya. Other than that, it was pretty even back and forth on the feet. Um, and then Max just got caught. He got stung with a big right hand, I think it was, and then he got swarmed, dropped by the left, finished on the ground. What are you guys' thoughts on what went down in the cage?
I thought Max looked game, man. That's the number one takeaway. I will say Ilya did beat Max on a good night. A lot of the times, especially recently, we've seen fighters come in and they're not themselves. That was not the case here. So I'll give Ilya his due respect. Holloway looked game. He was popping the jab, touching Ilya from the jab, not getting suckered into a slugfest for the most part. Touch. When Ilya would back him up to the cage, he wouldn't let Ilya get anything more than like pot shots off, which helped him out because Ilya did crack him a few times in the first two rounds, but it was always a single shot, and then Max circled out back to the center of the cage where he had the advantage. Um, I thought he was building momentum. I feel like the fight was kind of playing out how I thought it would, with Ilya starting strong and then Max kind of building his way into the fight. Ilya's face was red as fuck. He was clearly getting touched up. Holloway was starting to land straights, land a couple of those lean back uppercuts. But Ilya was always there with the leg kick, the pressure, usually having four pressure, I would say, for maybe like 70% of the fight. So yeah, it was a good fight, and then ultimately round three, Holloway got caught, and that was all she wrote. But yeah, that's what I saw.
Yeah, I thought both of them fought well. I think overall it was just a pretty good matchup. I thought pretty even. Um, Taporia, man, that man can smack, and I think he knows it. I think he knows it. Just the way he fights, he is very technically sound overall. Um, I was impressed by him the whole fight, but Max, as we expected, probably landing a little more output throughout the rounds, and Taporia was just landing the bigger shots throughout the rounds. Um, First two were pretty close. I probably had a 1-1 going into that third round, probably.
Yeah.
Um, so it was a close fight overall until Taporia got him, and that's all she wrote. I thought both fighters fought well, so
Facts.
it was a good fight.
Yeah, it was very competitive. Arguably one of the most competitive fights of Ilya's career. Okay, we have a lot to talk about with Ilya. What's next for him? Really quickly, let's just get Max out of the way. What do you guys want to see from Max next? He did say 155 is a good idea for him in the press conference. I totally agree. I have a couple names, but I'd like to hear what do you guys think is next for him.
I mean,
Oh,
he just beat Gaethje. What was Gaethje ranked?
like
Let's see.
three.
At
I'm pretty sure
three?
Max is also ranked at lightweight.
Yeah, but they probably have him at like nine.
Max is
Some
ranked number 5 at lightweight now.
oh my god.
Where's
Gaethje
Gaethje?
is ranked number 3.
That doesn't even make sense. But I mean, I feel them though. So
Hey, Poirier
Poirier.
rematch.
He is down 0-2 to Poirier.
They fought twice.
Yeah, he submitted him like really early in his career.
one's at featherweight,
Okay.
which doesn't really count for either guy in my
Yeah,
mind.
it's really not.
It's clean slate. But we did see what happened when Max went up to 155 and got kind of beat on the first time. I do think that Max has grown into his body a little bit more. Um, and after seeing how he did against Gaethje, I think he could more than hold his own like again if they were to rematch. So I wouldn't be mad at that fight, running the 481 back. Give them both that gives both guys something to do right now. Maybe throw the BMF title on the line or some shit.
Yeah, or for the BMF fight Connor.
That was the number one name I had, Nick. Connor and Max at 155, man. It's just a super fun fight. Everyone would love it.
I'm not a fan.
Well, why are you shaking your head, Xavier?
I'm not about it, man. Connor does not need to fight a Max Holloway right now. He needs to fight a fucking Michael Chandler. A fucking
Oliveira fighting him.
Bro, I
Charles.
think Oliveira is a bad matchup for Connor, bro. I'd rather fight Max if I'm Connor than Oliveira.
I would not.
Also, Oliveira, dude, that'd be a firefight.
Oh, yeah, the winner of Oliveira Chandler is fighting Max.
Okay.
Or just fight Connor. I mean, I kind of want Connor to fight someone that, even I feel like Dan Hooker, like that they're talking about Connor Dan Hooker now. I'm just like, I don't know,
No,
man.
no, I don't want that. I say for Connor, it's got to be the winner of Chandler and Oliveira or Holloway.
I'm trying to get Chandler. I'm trying to get Connor a fucking win here to like kickstart some momentum. He can't come back and just get beat by like a active killer. I feel.
And fight Oliveira.
All of that. I don't know how I feel about that.
I would take Connor in that. I would take Connor in that. I think he can defend enough grappling to keep him off him.
That's crazy.
But yeah, I think okay, we all agree something at 155, some fun fight. I guess he's still technically the BMF, whatever. He'll have fun at 155. Let's move on to Ilya. We have a lot to talk about here.
Hmm.
Um, let's just start with this one. It's been a question revolving around MMA media recently. Who's your guys' fighter of the year? There's obviously two candidates. It's clearly either Alex Pereira, 3 dubs, or Ilia Topuria with 2 dubs, but arguably more impressive Ws. Who's your guys' fighter of the year between the two? Or maybe another name if you have someone. But should be those two probably.
I would say it's got to be between these two. See, the thing is, again, man, how much stake do you put into the Alex fight? That's really what it comes down to here. Because on paper, beating those two legends of the sport, two future Hall of Famers, two pound for pound ranked fighters at the time, it's kind of like, man, that is more impressive on paper than beating the number 8 guy in Khalil Roundtree and beating beating Yuri again in a rematch. So I mean, I see the argument for Ilya. Uh, it's felt like Pereira has had a bigger year just because he's fought more and like stepping in, saving cards, fighting short notice, not giving a fuck. It's just like gangster shit on his part. So that's where like I would lean more so. It may be a little biased because I just don't believe in the Volk win like that. But this Max one is what really is making it close for me because I respect Max a lot and like what he did to Max is crazy.
Yeah, I would choose Bahia probably. I think just the fact he's a big man who can just chop anyone down the way he does. I mean, he basically does the same thing as Taporia does, just more like almost as devastating, probably more. So he's had 3 fights this year. Who knows? He might have four. He could just pull one out. Um, but they were all impressive wins where he got the finish and 3 fights in one year. So I would vote for him, even though Taporia's wins are impressive, but 3 wins in a year and the way he did it, one of them being 300 as well, which I think is huge on the resume there. Um, I would also say it Bilal beat Shavkat. I think his name should get thrown into the hat a little.
Okay, I can see that. I'm gonna lean Ilya slightly. Maybe it's recency bias, but I just can't deny the storyline, man. Just knocking out like the two goats in your division. Oh, I know Aldo's there too. I know, but like arguably the two goats in the division back to back, knocking them out bad. And like, there's just something about this dude. This guy has so much aura. He's such like a cocky little shit, but like he backs it up so much. Do you guys see any weaknesses in his game from like what we've seen just him in totality? Because like people are talking like he's literally Jesus Christ on MMA media. Like people are on his nuts, rightfully so.
I mean, I can't say I've seen any like glaring weaknesses. To be fair, like he doesn't he tends to finish his fights before the championship rounds. So it's kind of like an unanswered question. I thought that we were going to get an answer in this fight, but clearly not. In terms of how does his cardio hold up in terms of going into the championship rounds with someone who's going to push the pace against him or fight like at a decently high pace? Unlike Josh Emmett, which is the 1 5 rounder I've seen him in, like Holloway was pushing a pace that were it to extend into the, later rounds, would have answered that question for me. Unfortunately, but fortunately for Ilya, I guess we'll never know until it gets there. So That is the question mark I have, but I have not seen any weaknesses. I can't say so far in his game.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really seen any either. I mean, he got clipped by Jai Herbert in one fight, but I mean, ever since then, I have seen little to none. I mean, he out wrestled Bryce Mitchell, who's a great wrestler. Um, he's
Really,
out the best of the best. Would you say?
so he was really ragdolling Mitchell. I was really surprised. I was like, "What the fuck are you doing, Bryce Mitchell?" Huh?
Yeah, that got me on Taporia at that point when he did that to Bryce. I was like, okay, he kind of the real deal, but now he's like the realest deal.
Exactly.
So good. I mean, not a lot of weaknesses. I would say maybe like just little output sometimes, but that's about it.
Um, all right, last thing on this one. What is next for him at 145? I know or maybe he'll move up, but I think he should stay at 45, get some dubs, build a resume there. It pretty much seems like it's going to be Volk. Dana kind of said it himself. Volk has done so many solids for them. He kind of owes him this one. He literally said he's going to give it to him pretty much. So it looks like it's going to be Volk. But like, if you guys were the matchmakers, who would you want to see get a shot at the belt next?
I mean, I think the obvious choice is Lopez. Um, if it's me, the way I would map it out next three for Ilya, assuming he wins, of course, which at this point I'm not picking against him. This was like my final test. Like a lot of these fighters have to like win the title and then defend it against like a respected guy for me to like really get on the train and say like, okay, like I'm gonna take you to win most of your fights. And I feel like Ilya has just now crossed into that threshold. Um, so I don't think I'll be picking against him for a while. Until someone proves that I should. But really, I would say if we have to fight Volk next, I would line it up Volk, Diego Lopez, and then the winner of Aljo Ivalov, which to me is going to be Ivalov, but we have to throw Aljo's name in the hat just in case he wins. You know what I mean? In case he gets the bag for 3 rounds. I don't know, but I don't see it happening. So I would say those should be the next three, and then after that, you can look at moving up and maybe fighting Islam or whoever may be the champion at that point. But spoiler alert, it's probably going to be Islam
You
still.
know, guys, Aljamain Sterling did say on his Instagram that he has the style to neutralize Ilya, so he could be the one. Right, Clark?
Well, the matchup against Evilov, he Ellen, so it doesn't matter. It does not matter. He can say whatever he wants, honestly.
I have no faith that he beats that Aljo. Yeah, I have no faith that Aljo beats Ilya at all.
Yeah,
No.
especially Ilya, but like he's not getting past Evilov. Let me say that first. But I spaced out. What's the question, man?
Who would you match Ilya with up next and in the near
Oh,
future?
okay. So that's right. I don't even think it should be Volk next. Like, why? Like, he got knocked out by him in the. I mean, he was the champ for a while, but I mean, he left for a little bit, got knocked out by Islam, got knocked out 2 fights in a row. I feel like he should have a bounce back fight, if anything, and then fight for the title. But if that's the case, I would say they should match up Lopez versus Ivalov because I feel like they'll have enough time to do that in a match. And first off, Ivalov beat Lopez, so I feel like he has more claim to the ship than him personally. But uh, it's just based on the fact he beat Ortega and his ranking. But I think they should match those two up to fight. Uh, for the
So
winner of Volk, Taporia, Lopez, and Ivalov.
And out of all those names that you guys just discussed, who has the best potential to dethrone Ilya?
I mean, it's got to be Evolov at this point, in my mind,
Okay.
just because. I mean, we've seen like crazy shit off Lopez early as well. Maybe he catches him and like catches him in some crazy scramble, subs him, but I just don't. It's too much of that happening. With what I've seen off Ilya, he seems a little too technical for Lopez to me right now. But I think Evolov's the one thing we haven't seen is someone trying to like really wrestle fuck Ilya and how he deals with that. And I think Evolov with his wrestling style can, present at least at bare minimum a new challenge that we haven't seen Ilya face. Not to say Ilya can't pass that, but I would say that seems to be the most problematic of the three contenders to me right now.
I agree. I couldn't say it better myself, so I'm just gonna agree with that.
All right, guys, then let's move on to the co-main. Hamzat Chimaev is officially here. The Wolf. Shout out to him, man. Broke Robert Whitaker's jaw in the first round with a face crank. Fastest tap out I've ever seen for a choke. He did his thing, man. He does what he does. He mauls people in the first round. Whitaker, just I don't. I'm sure you guys saw the pictures. Sucks for him, but yeah, it was probably right for the UFC for Hamzat to win. This has been a long time coming. Looks like he's going to get the winner of DDP and Strickland. How impressive was Hamzat on Saturday?
Entirely impressive. Basically as impressive as he could have been. Um, we had a lot of questions about Hamzat going into this fight. How he performs in round ones was not one of them. He did exactly what he had to do, what he's best at, which is applying so much heavy pressure in round one, getting the takedown, and finding the submission. Shout out to Whitaker for, a lot of people gave him shit in the moment, because it seemed like he tapped really early without the choke being around his neck. Now we see that he was dealing with something arguably a lot worse. Like I would rather go to sleep than have my fucking teeth pushed all the way to the back of my fucking mouth and my jaw broken. So I mean, prayers up to him. Hopefully he heals just fine. Um, but yeah, Hamzat did his fucking thing, man. He's back. He's back, the number one contender in this weight division. I'd be very surprised if they went on with the Strickland plan. Even Dana seemed non-committal in the post-fight press conference. He was like, "We'll talk about it on Tuesday," which he could have easily said like, "No, Strickland's getting the next shot, and then we'll see." Like, no, he didn't say that. So Hamza came out unscathed. I think Hamza versus DDP is a fight that the masses would much rather see. And plus, Strickland knows what's up from the training room. He knows he doesn't want to get in this man's way. So I would say. He earned himself a title shot in my book with that victory.
Hey man, Champa is a name. We'll take either one. But back to the fight, I was very impressed. Overall, I mean, he just got takedowns, held them down there, got a few shots off, got a nice submission, man. There's levels to this. There's just levels. And that was my fear in this fight. Even though I knew Whitaker was decent grappler overall, there's just levels to this game. And I feel like Hamzat on the ground is just so far ahead of Robert Whitaker. But that was a crazy finish. Straight on the jaw. That was brutal. I feel bad for Whitaker. Hope he's doing all good now, a few days after. But overall, just impressive. He does deserve a title shot. I mean, Sean Strickland's not going to win anyways, so might as well throw Hamzat in there. Give DDP a little challenge, finally. No challenges out here.
I can't
That
believe I'm saying
title is
this.
gone. That title is gone, Clark, and you know it. What were you
Oh,
gonna
I
say?
don't, I don't know. I don't know, Xavier, bro. DDP's a madman, bro. But wait, guys. I can't believe I'm saying this. I am disagreeing with you guys. You got to give Strickland the title shot next, man. Because Hamzat's for sure getting a title shot for sure. He's not gonna the UFC isn't gonna match him up with anyone else. Why not just do DDP and Strickland in like January or February? Because Strickland, guys, he deserves it. I know we aren't all very high on him, but he deserves it. Just give
I'm pretty high on Strickland. I fuck with him. I fuck.
no, you do. You do.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, we
Because
could do it in January, Ed. It's perfect. It lines up with the 1 year anniversary.
exactly, yeah, it'd be perfect. Both guys have had a good amount of time off. It gives Hamzat more time off because you know how he is. You know how he is. But yeah,
You know
yeah,
how
Strickland
he
deserves it.
is. You know how he is crazy, yeah.
And yeah, Strickland. I mean, Hamzat's guaranteed the winner of that anyway. So I'm cool with waiting until like the summer for that international fight week. Do that, whatever. Yeah, not much more to talk about what happened in the cage. Hamzat dumpstered him, bulldozed him. It is what it is. Sucks for Robert. Um, okay, can we all agree Hamzat probably destroys Strickland, right?
Yes.
I does he?
It ain't even
Does he, Xavier?
close. And you're
I'm
gonna be worried about the cardio, I know.
gonna go out on a limb and say yes, just based on what Abus was able to do to Strickland for 1 round. I think Strickland. I mean, I think Hamza probably against the caliber of grappler of Strickland, who is like a tricky decent grappler, but like I don't think he has like a quad in one of his legs or some shit. Like obviously can't grapple like crazily. I think that Hamza probably has like about 2 rounds of cardio at least. 2 rounds of the dominance that he showed in this fight against like Strickland, I would say. Um, and I think that that should just be enough to get Strickland out of there. Outside of that, if Strickland can survive to round 3, then I would, maybe it's a whole different situation with the cardio disparity. But I just don't see Strickland getting through 2 rounds of that.
There's just levels to this, y'all. There's just levels. Like Strickland ain't at the same level as DDP Hamza. We all know this. Even though it was a nice close fight the first time with DDP, we know the second time he's gonna get knocked out probably because DDP can smack. And he would lose to Hamza in a fight just because there's levels on the ground. DDP can take uh, Strickland down basically the whole fight. Hamza gonna get this man down early and choke him out. I could just see it, especially in the training room. I just feel like Strickland's the worst out of the three for sure. Hamza might be better than DDP, but I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure.
Speaking of, that's what I've been wanting to talk about. I want to talk about DDP versus Hamzat Chimaev. I want this is like the most wild fight that I can think of, at least at 185. Just two madmen. How do we see this one going, hypothetically?
Mm.
What?
Honestly,
Go
I
ahead,
could
bro.
see, yeah, I could see two different versions. One being Hamza, like, is able to get him to the ground and doing his thing and just like outworking him through the first 2 rounds and maybe gassing him out more than he gasses out. Or I think DDP damn near just stuffs all of them, stays on the feet, and kind of just whoops his ass on the feet. Because on the feet, you can say he's awkward all you want. He can smack. He can throw question mark kicks.
He is
This
very
man,
deceptive kicks.
yeah, this man can do everything Hamzat cannot do on the feet. So I can see this going 2 ways. I mean, they're both kind of gas out merchants at times. So if this gets by I actually don't see this going to the cards. I think it'll be a finish either way. Um, but I see those two outcomes.
What do you think, Xavier?
I think Clark and his opinions are laughable, to be honest. I think that it can go a few ways actually, but all of them but one involve Hamza getting the win ultimately to me. I think that DDP has proven that he can crack, like you said, and if he catches Hamzat, we've seen Hamzat stung a little bit before, even though like not too bad, like not to where he got chinned or anything, but we have seen him rocked by, clipped a little by Gilbert Burns, clipped him. Um, I forget who else, but he's gotten rocked a few times. Um, has a chin, of course, but we know that the DDP kind of hits different. That is a fact. But at the same time, we've also seen Robert Whitaker take DDP down. Something that Hamza was quick to mention in his post-fight interview on Saturday. He was like, "Yeah, like brother, if Robert Whitaker take him down, what do you think I do to him?" Like, yeah, I agree, Hamza. Like, what do you do to him? Damn near anything you want, I feel. Like you said, DDP and him have, in my mind, equal propensity to gas. And I do think that when gassed, I trust the technical skills of Hamza on the ground and with his wrestling rather than DDP and his uncoordinated sloppy attacks. Um, we've not seen Hamza go 5 rounds, so I mean we have seen DDP go five, and like even though if he's gassed or not, like he still pushes through. He keeps fighting through the whole thing. So we don't know yet technically if Hamza has that ability. I'm just gonna go ahead and assume he does, just because he's from Dagestan. You know what I'm saying? And those boys just tend to have grit more often than not. He doesn't seem like a boost to me. So um, he's shown that like even through adversity, he will keep fighting just like DDP. So yeah, I think that the way I see the fight playing out is either Hamza getting him out of there early like he did Whitaker, taking him down and just being like when they're both fresh, a little bit too technical on the ground, finding a sub or something. Um, but I could see if DDP's physicality gives Hamza some issues and he's not able to just bully over him as easily as he has been Whitaker and damn near everybody else. So I could see if like it's more like in the clinch a little bit, or like it takes him a little longer than just that super fast blast double to get him immediately to the ground and shit, get to his back. But I do think that Hamza can out wrestle him and outgrid him. And I see him taking him out either early, round one, round two, or like round four after DDP probably has a round where he has some momentum going.
And you guys have very different opinions on these fights. I like it. Anything else you guys want to touch on with this one before we move on?
Wait, no, how do you see the fight playing out, Ed?
Man, DDP versus Hamzat.
Yeah, what is your crystal ball telling you?
Fuck. I'm gonna lead DDP, the champ.
That's how, that's right. There you go.
I just think he's more well rounded. It's very close though. It's close. But
We're gonna remember this when they fight. I'll remember
or
this.
maybe Strickland, sleeps them both. I think we're all, come on, guys.
Wow, that was funny. But
No, but anyways, Hamzat, he's finally arrived. Finally. These two things that happened in the main and co-main, yes, they were kind of depressing. Yes, it's hard to see two of the most beloved fighters in the sport get pretty brutally finished, but th- it was right for the sport. Ilya and Hamzat winning was right for the UFC, so it's all good, man. It's part of life. Let's move on. Featured fight of the night, light heavyweight bout, Magomed Ankalaev versus Alexander Rakic. Now, this was a 3-round decision. Magomed got the unanimous decision. He didn't look bad at all. I expected a finish. Rakic looked pretty good. I think he did a good job keeping range, but Magomed was the aggressor, landed the bigger shots. He deserves the next title shot. He's getting it no matter what. But like, what are your guys' thoughts on his performance and the fight overall?
Quite frankly, he did not listen to me on anything I said on the pre-show. Um,
He didn't watch.
he didn't wrestle, man. He didn't fucking wrestle. Even if he did watch, does he understand English? Does he speak English?
No.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Exactly. So it's okay, man. I know you watched, but you just couldn't understand me, Uncle Leia. But anyway, on a more serious note, I felt like I was both impressed with the striking that he displayed against like a dynamic kicker and striker like Rockage. Um, I feel like the odds kind of like didn't do Rockage's talent justice. I felt like, especially like you said on the pre-show, Clark, if they stayed on the feet, which this fight did the whole 3 rounds, it was more of like a 50-50 type fight. And Ankalaev almost inexplicably was putting himself in that situation and not choosing to wrestle like I told him to. Um, and that just scares me when talking about a potential matchup with Pereira because I just don't think that he wins that kind of a fight with Pereira. Whereas I think that the fight becomes a lot more 50-50 or even may lean his favor a little bit if I knew he was going to implement his grappling. So his refusal to engage in his biggest strength, his biggest advantage in my mind, especially in this division as it currently like shakes out, like just it baffles me every time. And for that reason, I was like less impressed with him than I would have been had he mixed it up and showed me that he was kind of ready for a Pereira challenge. Um, he did show that he checked a couple leg kicks. He said that in the pre-fight, like he had addressed that in his training, like not gonna eat so many leg kicks. And I did see a more concerted effort to get that shin up in the air, check some of these kicks, but like I don't think that little tweak is gonna like do enough for him in a potential Pereira fight. I still think his leg will get chewed up against a much more seasoned and much more like Rockage's kicks kind of load up a lot more than Pereira's. Pereira kind of just flicks him out there. And I feel like his leg is gonna get destroyed against Pereira. So if he doesn't wrestle, he will lose. And he showed me nothing today that to give me any more faith that he will implement his whole game against Pereira. So I don't know what to think. I left out of this fight feeling slightly worse about his chances than better.
Yeah, this was a decent fight. I think both guys look good on the feet. Rakic was looking good with the leg kicks, keeping good distance. I thought he won the first round. I thought Ankalaev gained more confidence as the fight went along, especially landing the more power shots for sure. I think Rakic was playing more of a point game in their fight. But I'd have to agree with you, X. The one thing I was thinking the whole time, you're not gonna at least attempt one takedown or show him anything. I don't even. The last time I remember him, Uncle I wrestling was against Jan, and he didn't even do that until his legs already
Yeah, he
got
was
broke.
forced to do it.
So it's very concerning thinking about a matchup against Bahia where like I've said, these have been my concerns about Uncle Ive the whole time. I think he's too proud. I think he'll want to strike with a. I hope he listens to us in the future on our Russian translator podcast. Um, and let me tell you, man, do not go in there against Fahea and try to fight a kickboxing style. I know you can hit hard on Goliath, but it's just that was my thought the whole time as well. Even though he won the fight, he looked decent doing it. Um, but it was very competitive, and I feel like Pereira's levels above Rakic. Even though I do think Rakic is a good fighter, I think Pereira's levels in terms of a kickboxing background and all that.
And just in terms of danger, man,
Yeah,
just
that
power. But yeah, yeah, fine performance by Rakic. It sucks he didn't wrestle. I definitely wanted to see him wrestle, show off the well-roundedness. That's what I want to see against Pereira. I hate the fact that if you guys were to ask me, who do you think is going to win, Pereira or Magomed in the fight? I literally, my answer would be, it depends if Uncle Ive wrestles. I hate the fact that we have to even question it, that a guy who's has bombs in his hands, no one wants to shoot with him. Everyone has a huge ego at this weight class for no reason. Like no one cares if you wrestle. It's MMA. This is not kickboxing. So yeah, if it's just a 50-50 fight on the feet, I'm taking Pereira. If he wrestles, maybe I'll take Ankalaev, but like this performance showed me nothing.
The one hope I have is that the reason that Ankalaev is not wrestling is to kind of keep that Mosley off tape,
Ooh.
and he's gonna bust it out when he needs it most. Like what if he comes out against Pereira, shoots immediately, like immediately a whole different game plan, different strat that we've ever seen, right?
That'd be
Like
so cool.
we can only dream. We can only dream. Um, that would be the only like benefit. Don't put it on tape. Don't get like too many tendencies down on tape against people that if he feels like he can beat all these guys on the feet solely, um, and he's confident in that, then I guess like why would you put it on tape, right? Those reps of him wrestling, but at the same time, it's like don't get so fucking caught up drinking your own Kool-Aid that you forget that you can wrestle. You know what I mean? Like I hope that along the way he didn't forget that where he holds his biggest advantage here. And when you want to become a champion, like this could be the difference between like millions of dollars for your family, like add yourself in the history books. You know what I
Oh my
mean? Like
God. I
it
gave
could be it. You know, am I wrong? Like
no,
this could
you're
be the
right.
difference between like oh he was just like oh that one good guy Ankalaev that never realized his potential, or like man, the guy who really finally definitively like put Hamza, I mean put Herrera down and like ended the boogeyman streak. Like he could really go down as an all-time great here, and I just don't know if he has what it takes, man. Does
He
he have the
probably
right coaching? Does he have the right coaching? Like, let me know. Let me know, bro. We're gonna find out, but I really just want to see at least the best attempt I can off these fighters, and
yeah.
I hope he gives me that, man.
I mean, he 100% has what it takes. He literally has the style you want to beat someone like Pereira. He can wrestle. He's an amazing wrestler, and he has the power and technique to somewhat, rival Pereira a little on the feet. It's not like he's a novice, and he has the Russian wrestling. But like you said, we don't know. It's all about the ego, the fight IQ.
Literally.
All right, guys. Any more thoughts on this one? No. Okay. Let's move on to let's move to featherweight. Lerone Murphy gets a unanimous decision win over Dan 50K Ige. Man, Ige almost had him out of there, but Murphy, super resilient. That's why they call him the miracle. We've seen him come back from way worse. Um, very competitive fight, very back and forth. Could have gone either way, I guess, but I think the right guy won. What were you guys' thoughts on his performance? Dan Ige's no slouch, clearly.
I left this fight more impressed with Ige than I was Lerone Murphy. Even though I thought Lerone Murphy won. Um, just I keep counting Ige out, man. I keep being like, man, he's getting a little older. He's been through so many wars. He's fighting some up and coming killer. Like they keep trying to, I feel like, sacrifice him a lot of the times, and like he keeps fucking proving himself at bare minimum. Even in defeat a lot of the times, man. What he did against Lopez in his last fight and like how he fared here, it's like, man, Ige is a game motherfucker still. And I mean, I can't like praise him enough, you know. I was just impressed with like how well he did considering everything. But yeah, I did think he lost the fight. Lerone Murphy, I thought he didn't really show enough killer instinct for me. Kind of seemed more content to just barely edge by out outpointing Ige more so than like trying to throw anything like devastating where I felt like he was actually trying to like finish the fight. Like at no point in the fight did I think that Ige was in danger of like getting finished at all, which like if Leroy Murphy wants to actually make a title push and like kind of move up the popularity ranks of the UFC, you gotta kind of try to kill a guy like Ige, I feel like. And I just didn't see him doing that.
Yeah, I was impressed by both. Ige, can never doubt that guy anymore, especially on that Lopez like 1 hour notice when he showed up and did that, and now this fight against a very hungry, undefeated fighter in Leroy Murphy. Um, Murphy just gritted his way through this fight, I think. He's definitely a grit man. Let me tell you, these were two grit men just going at each other, and it was a decent fight. I thought the right man won as well. It was close. I think it came down to that third round, I believe. But, you know, it is what it is. It was a good fight. I thought Ige challenged Murphy well, but I think we knew it was going to be a challenge. And that's why some of these odds were just so crazy in a lot of these fights. The only one that was decently right was Hamza, but I mean, overall, good. I was impressed by both guys. I thought both fought well.
Facts.
Yeah, super back and forth. Um, I love the call out from Lauren Murphy. He called out Josh Emmett. I think that's a perfect step up in level of competition. Emmett, he hasn't fought in a while. He coming off that disgusting win against Bryce Mitchell. That was back in December of last year. Josh Emmett's super dangerous. I mean, we've seen it. He went 5 rounds to Topuria. I know he kind of got beat up, but that still says something. I think it's a very dangerous and a perfect test for him to keep climbing the rankings at featherweight.
I'm for that.
And then for Ige, just put him in give him a fight like he can win, man. I mean, not I know he could have won these last two, but he's getting killer after killer, man. Give him,
They trying to sacrifice him. I'm
yeah.
seeing it like with the matchmaking. You can kind of already tell where their head's at. Like they want someone to like build their name off Ige and like
Mhm.
kind of viciously take him out. And like he's not giving anyone that highlight reel. So I'll give him that. I'll give him that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, speaking of highlight reels, let's move on to Shara versus Petrosian. First ever double back fist KO in UFC history. He was winning the fight up until that point. I think he was landing the cleaner shots, the better shots. Definitely his best performance in his career, probably. What are your guys' thoughts on the bullet and like what do you want to see for him in the near future? Clearly the UFC like him and are trying to push him.
I thought this was really impressive. Petrosian showed that he was legit in there, man. This was not a can by any means. They threw Shara a real guy, and he was having some real challenges. I thought Petrosian up until the end was like maybe at worst like 60-40 losing the fight. I felt like he was in there every moment of the fight. Um, was on Shara with the hands decently early. Um, gave him some trouble establishing his kicking range. But eventually, once Shar worked his way into a more of a rhythm, found his kicking range, blasting kicks from the outside. His timing with the hands looked pretty good as well. Shara's timed Armin coming in a couple of times and like caught him. So I mean, it was a nice little technical striking battle, and then boom, like in a fight that could have been 50-50, like I would probably lean Shara, especially given where they were. But you never know, man. I've seen worse decisions than if they were to give that fight to Petrosian to that point, based on what I saw. It could easily have been 1-1. And Shara took it out of the judge's hands, man. Double back fist. I've never seen it in my life. I thought he landed both of them, but he mostly only landed the second one. The first one kind of was like perfectly on target, but it got blocked, and then he just spun around, caught Armin's fucking defenses down and slept them damn near. So, or render them unable to compete. So I mean, like, shout out Shara. Um, I feel like he's asking for Israel Adesanya. I feel like that's way too big of a step up right now.
Yeah,
He needs to build a little slower, develop his game a little more. Um, but yeah, I feel like you can maybe give him a ranked guy at this point, low ranked, and build from there maybe.
Yeah, I thought Petrosian was doing a good job on the leg kicks throughout the first two rounds. Um, but Chara just he looked cleaner. He was landing the better shots. Um, I was impressed by his striking with his hands today or Saturday. Usually he kind of goes more for the kicks, keep at range, and then land a few punches. But I thought he did a much better job in this fight with the boxing. And it was just a vicious knockout. A vicious knockout. Just one of the best I've seen of the I think it could be knockout of the year up there.
up there.
And this man is aura, let me tell you, he's got a scary one eye. Uh, he's a pirate, man. This man's got some aura to him. Even though I think he'd get destroyed by Izzy, I'd be interested in the matchup. But nah, he's got to keep building. Definitely needs to re-up his game, especially in the grappling, man. You're in awe. Get together.
Any names you guys want to see him against?
Mm,
Give me some. Give me someone.
eh,
What Pereira?
Michelle?
Yeah.
Mm, I don't love that.
Okay. Or Kopilov.
Probably, see,
I mean,
Kopov would be.
okay, so he's currently ranked 14.
Oh,
They
I
have
didn't
him
know that.
ahead. They have him ahead of Pereira. I just pulled it up.
Oh, Shara, they threw him in there.
Hell yeah, dude. He's ranked
Say
already.
fuck it.
Atrocious.
I'll take it.
I would give him Polo Costa and just see where he's at.
Oh man.
That'd be a good fight.
Because
Yo.
Costa's only ranked 3 fights above him.
He hasn't won a fight in like 5 years, bro.
Well,
Why not?
Costa?
Yeah, so why not, man?
That's
That's
what
a
I'm
crazy
saying.
fight. That's a crazy one.
Like on paper, it sounds like, oh, Charlotte might not be ready for that, but really, like, Costa needs to prove himself, honestly, as well.
I kind of like that. It's kind of risky, but like, fuck with it.
It is
Yeah,
risky, but I feel like anything else is more risky. Like it's a division of killers, honestly.
and
I mean, maybe Delete. You can give him Delete.
Oh, fuck. Oh my God, Delise.
Because even like Fluffy Hernandez is ranked one above him, and I don't want to see that fight
You don't want to see Fluffy, bro. I'll tell you that much.
after what Fluffy just did to
No, you don't want to see him.
I don't want to see Shara just get held down for fucking 3 rounds, bro.
All right, guys, let's move on to the prelims now. This was a very interesting prelims. First of all, we have two tragic leg injuries. One, yeah, with what was the one?
The fuck?
Yeah, we know. We're gonna talk about the serious one first.
oh,
RDA, he got dropped by Jeff Neal, and then he is like something happened in his ACL or his knee or something. But the other one, Chris Barnett pulls a reversed Johnny Walker, injures himself before the fight, like jumping, and he like broke his knee or something. So two very tragic leg injuries. We damn near had fight of the year with Rebetsky and Orlabai. And I didn't see it, but apparently we had like a really terrible decision on the card, like the
Oh,
first fight.
oh
first fight.
yeah, oh
It
yeah.
I
fucking
didn't see it.
Oh my gosh. Let me fucking just address Carlos Leal. I am sorry. And the MMA world is sorry. My parlay was not sorry, but that's besides the point, man. That's why these like the region that these fights are taking place in, and maybe just the crowd reactions, like could be just swaying judges a little bit. I don't know what it is. I'm trying to give them any credit, but Yeah, Carlos Leal deserved to win that opening matchup. Fakardinov was able to damn near get no fucking grappling off, and that was where he held his advantage on paper. Leal was able to stuff all of the takedown attempts, land the heavier strikes, land the crisper strikes. Vakardinov was able to land as well. Like it wasn't like a wash. Like no particular round was a wash, but it was very clear that Leal won at least 2 out of the 3 rounds. And yeah, Leal got robbed there. Definitely robbed.
Okay. Um, very impressive performance from what's this guy's name? The
Nordiev?
Aslan, the dude from Turkey.
Hmm.
Got a really quick knockout. Anything else you guys want to touch on? Abu's got a big bounce back win against the Hulk.
Yeah,
What
that was crazy because like Freya had him so badly hurt. I mean, I boosted his usual thing and gassed out in the first minute in the second round again. That's what he does. It's our boost. And
facts?
I thought Freya had him dead to rights, but the man just could not stuff a takedown to save his life. Kind of pissed me off because I put him on the big boy. Shouldn't have, but clearly I had good reason. Clearly I had good reason. I thought
Yeah.
he was gonna get him out of there second, honestly. So
Got close.
If you guys look up Gas Out Merchant, Abu's is the front page that pops up, I promise you. Like one of the worst cardios I've ever seen in my life. I'm still pissed about the Strickland fight. Like the fact that this man couldn't make it 2.5 rounds against fucking Strickland, bro, who just throws a jab and a cross, bro. It's ridiculous, bro. It's ridiculous. I'll never forgive him personally, so fuck you, Abuz. But yeah, this said more about Ferreira than it did about Abus because we know Abus has like good skills. Good. He's pretty technical when he's rested. And he basically outpointed Ferreira the first round pretty easily, but then he gassed out and the fight got a little bit more competitive. But then just about every time he shot the takedown, he went down with ease and stayed there for the rest of the round. And it was a piss poor effort and grappling defense from Ferreira. So I mean, he's got to get to the drawing board if he wants to ever make anything of his UFC career for it. But
Yeah,
shout out, nice rebound for him. And then let's talk about this fucking Rebeski Orobai fight. Holy shit!
wild.
Oh my gosh! Like I think Dana White talked about it in the post-fight interview. Like I assumed that Orobai had to like have blown out his orbital or something. The way his eye just swelled the fuck up, I was like, oh God. And I bet on Orobai, so I was like, I hope that the doctors didn't stop it. And surprisingly, they didn't, man. That's what I'm saying. I promise you, like in New York or damn near even Vegas, they probably would have stopped that shit. But over in Abu Dhabi, they're like, fuck it, bro. Let them fucking fight to the death, I guess. Like it was insane.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And it allowed a great fight to continue because Orobai bounced back from that. And made a case to have won that fight. I did think that he rightfully lost the fight, but like he got himself back into it and he showed like an ultimate amount of grit. Definitely added to the grit man list. Like I was impressed with both guys.
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
All right, guys. Anything else on the card we want to touch on before we wrap it up?
Shout out Ishmael Nardiev beating Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva just looks fucking done in there, man. Just so slow, no output anymore.
Yeah,
And one like there was once a time where his striking was kind of feared. I feel like that time is just past. Like it didn't take long into the fight where he seemed too gassed to like mount any significant offense beyond like single shots, and I don't know, man. I just wasn't impressed. I feel like Nardiev dominated him, and it wasn't too much because of how he looked. It was just more how little of Bruno Silva was left. I think he's just phoning it in, collecting a paycheck, and trying to survive at this point. And let me see how like what his record is in his last couple, but yeah, he's lost three in a row, including one to Chris Weidman.
I forgot about that.
Four in a row, one's Allen. Okay, his last win was he knocked out Tavares, but like, I mean, I guess it wasn't that long ago, but like he's on a four-fight losing skid, and if he loses one more, I would not be mad if we sent him to BKFC or like
PFL land.
EFL land. But yeah, that's my last like little note on the card.
Very cool. Well, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this recap. We have plenty of other stuff coming out. Please check out the TikTok, leave a comment, leave a like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.
Peace.
Peace.